to the world. 990WBOB.com. 990WBOB.com is an independent free media outlet.
Live from the world headquarters of 990WBOB.com in the original 13th colony, spreading truth and slaying lies, a one-man gang in a war to restore freedom and liberty. Dan Bidondi.
And welcome everybody to the Dan Bidondi Show right here on 990WBOB.com Renegade Radio. So today is our September 1st, 2020 edition. And folks, what a year it's been. It hasn't even started, regardless of it being the 9th month of the year. Hasn't even started for the crap that's coming down the pipe, man. Already happening. Civil War, as we titled the show here. Freedom versus fascism, you know what I mean? And, you know, the fascists are the ones who claim to be anti-fascists. So anyway, we've got a guest, a good friend of mine, Jon Bowne. He's no stranger to the show here. Jon Bowne from Infowars.com, also from DailyNewsCollective.com, joining us any minute now. And I just want to make a note for you know, anybody's been tuning into 990WBOB.com here. The show previous to me, Tyler's show there, he had... Mayor candidate of my city, Cranston, Rhode Island, Steve Stikos, and I just want to, give some kind of a message to Steve Stikos, man. You are a snooze, okay? This guy, and nothing against Tyler. God bless him. He's a better man than me because I would have ripped this guy a new one. Preaching all, this old man voice. Trump did this bad, and the climate change, his poor response to the COVID-19. You know what I mean? The cold. That only killed 6% of what they said it did. Yeah, okay. Try another one. Then he goes out with the climate change garbage. Okay, the stuff is up. The gigs are up. Why are you people still trying to push this garbage, okay? Steve Stikos, you are not going to get in. I'm telling you right now, because Cranston is a majority Republican city. Good luck on that. You know what I mean? Just go back to your snoozing. You know what I mean? So we got on the phone right now, Jon Bowne from the ground. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how are you?
All right, pretty good. And what a crazy world, man. Right versus left, and, literally. And a new civil war about to pop off, Revolution 2.0, whatever you want to call it. Freedom versus fascism, man. And the ones who call themselves anti-fascists are the fascists. You know what I mean? And we got gunshots popping off, which I truly believe, my heart, is a true American hero, Kyle Rittenhouse. And it's going crazy, man. How you doing today, bro?
Very good. Yeah, things are definitely popping off. Critical race theory is what everyone's out there marching in the streets celebrating. It's critical race theory. And we wouldn't be here without critical race theory being indoctrinated into our churches and into our government, into our schools. Otherwise, we'd all just be getting along like we were before all of this crap started.
Yep. That's for sure.
So, yeah. So it's a madness that has taken over the land, and people need to start to process what exactly the demands of these Marxists in the streets are. What exactly are they asking for? Because I don't even think they understand.
No.
I think all it really is it's a like you said, it's freedom versus fascism. And, you remember that game we used to play when we were kids and, you'd call me a name and I'd say, I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
And for Nancy Pelosi to come right out and say that basically anybody that disagrees with her modus operandi train of thought, her New World Order globalist mindset, is an enemy of the state. It sounds okay to people just let it go because it's a crazy old woman who happens to be Speaker of the House who just got busted out in San Francisco using a salon when there's a law in California that all the salons are closed, and her only excuse was, well, I didn't know it was against the law. I guess it appears all right that someone like that could say that anyone that disagrees with her is an enemy of the state. But just take a step back, and that sounds a lot like something a Hitler or a Stalin would say. And I know that's a little extreme, but just take a step back and look. And the people in the streets are essentially the brown shirts who are trying to create this new government. Ultimately, that's what they want. They want this new communist, Marxist, socialist government. They think is some pie in the sky that, when it's all said and done, they'll march all of us off, or they'll put us on trains, or God forbid, whatever else they want to do with us. They want to get rid of traditional Americans who believe in their Bill of Rights and the Constitution. And, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution have been decaying over the past few decades so much that, the First Amendment, Second Amendment, that...
The Fourth Amendment, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Fourth Amendment especially. That, due process is just being horribly abused in this country, especially by all of these judges that are being put in by Soros, these DAs and, attorney generals, and the system is rigged. But it's high time that the rest of the country, and I think most of the country is completely angered by what they're seeing, and scared too, by the scenes that we saw in Kenosha. And it was only a matter of time that someone like Kyle Rittenhouse got in a situation that he got into, because it was just so incredibly dangerous, everything that was happening.
Oh, yeah, he got attacked with a skateboard, a cocktail bomb thrown at him, then the guy pulled his handgun on him. So, what the heck is this guy supposed to do? And the left, he's a murderer and all that. But, yeah, you're not calling your own people murderers at attacking cops, throwing bricks at their faces, letting people die in fires. But, yeah, that's okay, though. It's such a double standard with these people.
Well, yeah, and critical race theory is this indoctrination. The Catholic Church, there was a priest that was trying to indoctrinate all his parishioners to, feel guilty for their whiteness, and realize that there is white privilege. Well, you think Jesus had white privilege? I mean, think about it. The guy literally went through every type of non-privilege you can imagine so that the rest of us could be saved. But it's this philosophy that uses critical theory to examine the details of our society and our culture, and how those little triggering instances relate to race as it's categorized, and how it's systematically existing within the framework of our economy. And you can make something out of anything, and that's exactly what's happening. And we've allowed it. We've just kind of sat back and said, okay, well, this is America. You're free to think that. Don't agree with you, but you're free to think that there's systematic racism. But now it's become indoctrinated into our government, into where we pay our taxes, into where we send our kids.
And now the sports teams look at them all, I'm skipping the game out, I'm taking a knee, I'm doing this and that and the other thing. And, you get paid to play with a ball. You don't get paid to voice your political opinion. You know what I mean? And it's sickening in the sports now, man.
Yeah, and people will argue that, sports, my thing is sports is entertainment. It's supposed to, during times of war, during times of economic depression, just in general, it's supposed to take your mind off of all the other crap going on.
Yeah, when the Patriots won the Super Bowl.
Just like movies are. And we're bombarded. Now we're bombarded by our entertainment industries, which we've allowed to have this platform. And they're trying to brainwash the country.
Yeah.
And it needs to be an escape. And, of course, they're there were people that stood up for, Muhammad Ali stood up during the Vietnam War. There have been athletes who have stood up when history, counted on them to do that, I guess. But for the NFL to now start putting, people's names on their helmets, if you're going to put a name on your helmet, are you going to put Jay's name on your helmet, the guy that was just or will that not be allowed? That you allow a Patriot Prayer supporter who was murdered in cold.
Or that kid Cannon, you know what I mean?
Or Cannon. Yeah. They should all be wearing. And the names, or David Dorn. The names go on and on. Jessica Whitaker, who was just, a mother of a 3-year-old who said all lives matter, and so they blew her head off. And now you're seeing these videos like the one in Baltimore where the older white guy's walking down the street, and black guy runs up behind him and hits him in the back of the head with a brick. And they're all laughing about it. So I think what they want, Muriel Bowser, the mayor of Washington, D.C., she just said that she's afraid of a race war. That's her main concern. And, if you give in to the race war, then they've already won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we're Americans at this point. It's 2020. There's a lot of black people in this country that are part Irish. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a lot of white people that may have African blood. We're a country of mud. Now, of course, there are a lot of people that have, their ancestry is straight back to their ancestors, and that's fine. But this is America, and to impose this critical race theory on all, on our children, in our media, in the streets of the country where you burn down buildings, all in the name of critical race theory. It's getting to a point where I'm waiting for some kind of Hitler-esque character to emerge and lead this movement. That's all they're missing.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the 1930s, if people don't know what a brown shirt is, it's basically that selected people that went into the smallest towns, the smallest communities, got involved, just say the community, the town halls, whatever the case. And what they would do is they go spy on people, and they would advocate for defunding the police, what they did back then, and eliminating the police. Same exact things is going on today. Was going back in the 1930s, and Hitler. That was his. Was his minister of? I forgot what his name. I forgot the guy's name that Hitler hired to do this. I had it on my computer here, but yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like, what is it?
Goebbels?
No, he hired some other minister of interior. His minister of interior at the time come up with this idea of using brown shirts, they called them, to go in and start riots and everything else. Advocate to defund the police, actually get rid of the police. Push all this propaganda.
You're talking about Himmler.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So we're seeing the same exact stuff happening right now, man. And it's crazy, man. Some of the schools are telling having parents sign disclosure agreements that you cannot listen in on your child's online classes. What the hell are they going to teach the kids?
Oh yeah. There are already indoctrinations, race critical theory indoctrination programs that are all being they're already there. At least they're there this year across the board. And the kids can see through them too.
Yeah,
we can all see through them, but it's this indoctrination, that it's leading towards the next phase, which is very similar to what we've all seen happen in communism, throughout communism, where they erase the history and they cordon off sections of a society and say this one is above the other, depending on your useful idiot status. If you're a useful idiot and you're victimized and you're playing along with their game, then they'll use you until the end. But in the very end, even the professors and the people that have pushed Marxism on the students of this country, they all think they're going to have some kind of position of power, and they'll actually be the first. They're always the first ones to go.
You know, it's kind of weird, man. I was watching a lot of quotes, well, actually reading a lot of quotes, I should say, from President Reagan, man. That guy was right on when he said that the communists would come in the name with a new hat called progressivism, which is what's going on today, man. He's been dead on all his quotes and everything, how they would infiltrate society, because we've seen that in the 1960s, you know, the Communist Revolution, and how they, you know, got teachers in our schools now, progressives, and all these whack jobs teaching our kids, everything, you know, and they're tearing statues down, because that's a Communist Manifesto, is to erase history so they could rewrite it. You know what I mean? And so they don't want you to know the true intent of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all Declaration of Independence. They want you to learn a twisted, complete so-called racist version of it. So you have no problem disinvolving away from the Constitution in the future.
Yeah, and, you know, they go out in the street and they call, you know, somebody like you that stands up for this country a Nazi.
Yep.
Which is incredibly infuriating because, you know,
it's totally the opposite.
I mean, my grandpa was in World War II. My great-grandpa was in World War I. You know, I mean, we got rid of the Nazis, but for them, but that's just part of their whole thing. It's a way of just getting on your last nerve, and it's really showing through the media right now. But you know, this Michigan Democratic rep Brenda Lawrence, she just compared President Donald Trump's presidency to the rise of Adolf Hitler during the Holocaust. And then you've got these people in media that are all saying that, you know, they totally ignored the last 90 days of just burning and looting in mainly Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis. You know, it was $500 million plus worth of damage in Minneapolis and Minnesota.
And you see CNN, it was weird, right? He's on TV, live on CNN. I forgot the reporter's name. Fire's going on in the background, like it looked like a war zone. It's mostly peaceful here, you know, mostly peaceful protests.
Fiery, but mostly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and you know, the gaslighting is unbelievable. And so now, you know, you turn on the TV. I was watching today, and I saw Juan Williams on Fox News. It just drives everyone nuts. And they're all just denying that the left, that the Democrats have anything to do with it. And their line is that, you know, right-wing domestic terrorism is the biggest problem, and right-wing groups are the ones that have been responsible for all this damage. When we all, I mean, come on. You know, it's not like anyone's really been ignoring this. We can see exactly who's doing this, you morons.
Yeah.
So, you know, and so I hope this translates to the election. But now they're talking about with this mail-in ballot stuff, the possible fraud in mail-in ballots. You know, most of us that are voting for Trump, and by the way, a lot of Democrats are voting for Trump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But most of us that are voting for Trump are going to go down to the poll and we're going to vote because that's the safest way. You know, would you mail yourself $20 at the mail?
No.
Back to yourself? No. So, you know, so what they're saying is that Trump will win in a landslide right after the, you know, the normal voting happens. But then a week later, Biden will end up winning through all this fraudulent mail-in ballot business. So they just don't stop. And careful what you ask for. You know, that's the other thing is they don't have any. They don't see the long game on anything. First of all, you defund and get rid of the police, you're going to end up with Kyle Rittenhouse situations all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's a group that went out. So they've started to go out into the suburbs, or even worse, they've gone out into the rural areas. They started going out to the rural areas of Minnesota. And there was one video where they go out, and these guys are just standing in their driveway with shotguns. and they start getting out of their cars to protest these guys, and you hear the car get shot, and they all scramble to get in the car, and they all drive away. I think somebody might have taken a little bit of shot in the head, but that's obvious. Unless you can take, and you definitely can't take the Second Amendment away after, let's say the Democrats do get in, and their army of brown shirts, because that's what Antifa is. That's what BLM is.
Yep.
BLM, by the way, is, it was founded by 3 Marxist women.
Yep.
And it's not at all about Black Lives Matter, because 250 black babies are aborted every day under the Margaret Sanger.
Not one right for those kids either.
Movement. So if you cared about, you would start there. If Black Lives mattered, you would make sure that there wasn't some kind of eugenicist movement against you. You would go after that first. But that's part of the Democrats, so they're not going to mess with that. And then you get into the violent crime statistics, and the reality is that if Black lives really mattered, then we would do something about violent crime between black people and between white and black people and between Hispanics and black and white people and so on and so forth. We would do something about the violent crime statistics, because the police killings of black people is teeny tiny statistic compared to black versus black versus white, the amount of homicides. So their whole movement is skewed in that way. And then on top of it, they're all under the domain of these Democrat cities where they're being controlled, and they've been kept like this for generations.
And the only thing I think protecting Antifa from Black Lives Matter, the only thing is that corrupt mayors and governors. Other than that, I think, the gloves would have been off, the cops would have went in, did their job, and cleaned house completely. Because all the others, they just don't, cops only could throw the fireworks at them. They can't do anything, even though they're getting deadly weapons thrown at them. All they can respond is some tear gas and some fancy fireworks. That's it.
Yeah, it's shown a real weakness.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the police are weak. I'm just saying that it's shown in this situation just how we're not really prepared for this. Especially in Democrat cities now. They sent the National Guard into Wisconsin, and that stopped immediately. But and that's what needs to happen across the board. But the Democrats won't allow. The Kate Brown, the governor of Oregon, she won't allow Trump to bring the National Guard in. Neither will that mayor. And it's just going to continue on.
Yeah, all pride, man. And then when their cities get destroyed, they'll be the first ones begging Trump for financial aid.
Well, that's the thing is, so the police aren't there anymore, and Patriot Prayer's there are other patriots there. They're just regular Americans there. We're not right-wing.
Yeah.
We're not Nazis. We're Americans. We live here.
Yep.
And you've made us angry. And you're burning down our life's work. You're burning down, friends' business or family's business. Yeah, we're angry. We're not just going to sit around. And, you can call us all the names you want in the book, but at the end of the day, we're all just Americans. And you've made us angry. And so you take the police out of that, I don't even have to explain what happens next.
No, yeah, once the gloves are off, they don't understand. It's like, once the gloves are off, because the only reason they're not getting the asses wiped off the street right now from the Patriots is because they're holding back because they're respecting the law. But if there's no law and order, there's no police, you guys got to be, and I really believe if there was an all-out war, it'd be less than 24 hours, because look at the average Patriot, right? They're in shape. They know how to shoot better than even most of the police department. So what the hell you got to do? And plus, we're gun owners. And most
of them are young kids.
Yeah.
And even if you know, even if you can't throw a haymaker, even if you've never learned how to fight, how to take somebody's knee out, or, you know, elbow somebody in the face or knock somebody's teeth out, even if you've never learned those things, experienced those things, you corner a dad and a mom with their kids, good luck, man.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't want. I'd rather fight a military veteran than do that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, so and basically that's what they're doing. And you know, and they're indoctrinating themselves in our schools, and it's just we keep saying this over and over again. How far does this go until we stop it? And you know, the government. That's another reason why we need Trump in there for 4 more years, because we know there's no chance in hell that Biden's going to do anything. In fact, he's going to reverse everything. He's
Yeah.
going to hand everything back over to China. He's going to get back into the TPP, all those horrible things that, you know, you and I were talking about, you know, back during the Obama administration,
Yep.
fighting. All those things are going to be open for business. It's going to be a Bilderberg world. And so if we get Trump in there, you know, Trump's hands are definitely tied in a lot of ways. I mean, he's been attacked from all sides. But at least we've got a chance to go after this stuff. At least we've got somebody in there who understands, just like the rest of us, what's at stake here. You know, like I was saying with the media, with the left, they know that it's armies of Soros, Open Society Foundation kids out there that are burning things down. They send in the good kids. Okay, so you got some kid who maybe his brother got beat up by a white police officer. I myself have had that experience as a white person.
Yeah.
I got beat up by a Mexican police officer on Christmas Eve. So I understand police brutality, but I also understand that it's not just because you're black. Because people are obsessed with power and they're
Yep.
a-holes. There's a-holes in the world, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we should be marching against is all these a-holes. But instead, we've got an army of a-holes marching to celebrate being a-holes. Anyway, so the media is saying that the left has nothing to do with this when you know. Not only do they know that the left is funding it, but they're being told that. They're going out with these propaganda talking points to feed this back to the public. You tell a lie big enough and we'll all believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're all trying to push this lie that it's the right that's doing this. You know, the latest thing the right did was they had a parade for Donald Trump, for our president, where they drove their trucks with flags on them, Donald Trump flags and boats, and the left, these nut jobs were dropping bricks on their cars from the overpass. You know, they attacked their trucks, they attacked their cars, and then they shot a Patriot Prayer guy in cold blood, and the media won't even mention it. Instead,
Yeah.
that just happened, and I turn on the news, and it's everybody is saying that the right is out of control, and they're the ones causing all of this damage. And they know they're lying. We know they're lying, but if they say it enough,
Yep. And you got that witch from Homeland Security, the former, I forgot what position it was, I forgot her name. She come out to say that right-wing extremists are more dangerous than Antifa. You know, pose more of a threat to national security than Antifa. So that, wow.
yeah, how exactly?
Yeah.
At this point, how? At this point, yeah, you know, I understand there are neo-Nazi groups. I
Yeah.
understand there, you know, sure, that's always been, but we've always had far left groups too. I mean, we had a group that was was planning to kill off millions of Americans that supported the left. You know?
Yep.
So the problem is we can't. No one in the media will go out there and say it for what it is. There's only a few people that will.
Tucker
And
Carlson.
of course, they get attacked.
Yeah.
And relentlessly. But, and so truth is a real, it's really getting its butt kicked nowadays, It's really,
Oh, it is.
really hard to watch.
And you're right. And now you got Jacob Blake, right? Okay, this guy openly he's yelling at the cops. He's gonna kill him. Goes and he admits there was a knife on the floorboard, proven by the Department of Justice. And you would think to people like, all right, let's get the facts first before we go out and outrage, right? Let's get the facts first. No, they don't want to do that. And even they found out he did admit it to it, and they're still out there protesting. It's like everybody they protest is all for criminals. Nothing to do with kids, like the abortions, like you said. Nothing to do with, how many black children, sweet little innocent black kids in the month of July got gunned down by gangbangers. Not one peep from Black Lives Matter. This racist group, which is a communist group, Black Lives Matter.
2-year-old that got shot sitting in a stroller in Brooklyn. And it's just like Jay out there in Portland.
Yep.
It's like, okay, just a little blip on the screen and it goes away. And then, 3 months of George Floyd and Jacob Blake and so on and so forth. And yes, there are people that have been brutally harmed by the police and accidentally killed by the police. But they're not, it's actually, I don't want to get complete, I could get into the statistics now if you want to hear them.
Oh, go for it.
Okay, well, give me a second here, bring them up, but, it's, if you're going to go out and protest, then protest for the life of David Dorn.
Yeah.
Protest for that kid that got 2 years old. That that was it. That's the protest for Cannon, 5-year-old shot in the head for no reason. And now you're hearing more and more crimes where it starts with, this is because Black Lives Matter, and then something happens, something horrible happens.
Yeah, and the left bashing like this one witch. She puts on her ad like, I got a bike for sale that's got blood on it, and had a picture of little Cannon on it. I mean, what kind of a sick, demented, you have these leftists, oh, that little white bastard deserved it, stuff, what the hell's wrong with people? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a kid for crying out loud, you know what I mean? And they don't care about their own black kids either, you know what I mean? Obviously, we can see that. It's all about criminals. And, the demands you were talking about earlier, right? I heard some of the demands when they was, those fake pastors and preachers in D.C., release all criminals. We got to eliminate the prison systems and get rid of the place. Oh, that's a smart move. So you have criminals running around everywhere, and these people are lunatics.
Yeah, they really are. Well, they're mentally ill.
Yeah.
They, and it's, they believe something that is, it's a farce, and not only that, it enrages them. Plus, you've got a generation of, the millennials and Generation Z, probably the most spoiled generations in American history.
Yeah.
And, on top of that, a portion of them have spent a lot of time in daycares. So they're angry at mommy and daddy about the neglect. A lot of this lashing out really has nothing to do with the police or police brutality, but you would think that, I think there's close to somewhere between 12 and 15 people that have all died as a result of this whole movement. They've been killed.
Yeah.
And I just think back to Martin Luther King, and I would think that the Christian man that he was, I know there's a lot of debate, how much that, whether or not he subscribed to communism or not. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about just as a Christian man, that within his movement, if his movement had something to do with destroying other Americans' lives and killing innocent people, especially babies and kids, and somebody like David Dorn, who gave a lot of his life to the community.
Yep.
You would just stop. But they don't have a leader. Their leaders are somewhere hidden away. We don't know. There's somebody in a room back there that's got a risk board, and they're trying to figure out what their next move is with Antifa. But there is no leader, and that's a real good indication right there too. It's that there really is no real eloquent leader that is explaining exactly what they want. And when they do have people like they just had
Sean King, that
memorial,
that dumbass talk show host, Sean King.
Yeah. When they do stand up and talk, what they're saying is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just wrong, And so, I tell you straight up, I will never, ever say or get down on my knees and beg forgiveness for being white.
Absolutely not.
And it's not because I'm a white supremacist. It's because you're a freaking moron for thinking I would do that. And the other thing is, like, I'm Irish, I'm Filipino, I'm British. My brother is brown. I'm white, but he came out of the oven brown. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, to hear all this stuff, and what is my brother supposed to be racist against me? I mean, am I racist against my brother? Is my brother, my literal full-blooded brother, is he had it rougher than me his whole life because of his skin color? No.
Then you got them being called, the ones who do support Trump and whatever, they called Uncle Toms. I got 90% of my black friends love Trump to death. You know what I mean? They love him and they're voting for him and everything else. But they get called Uncle Toms by the left, which is another racist derogatory term, which contradicts the whole movement. It's
well, a lot of black folks are. It usually sits for Republicans. It usually sits around 6 to 8%. But it's actually it's about to go beyond 20%.
If you go to TikTok, right? TikTok and YouTube, you see countless thousands of videos of black folks saying they support Trump. The Trump attire, they got the Southern flags, all this stuff, and they're just smashing Black Lives Matter. You know what I mean? And, but the media will never show you that.
Yeah, and the media, thank God we've got a few people out there that are still telling the truth, but it's just relentless. The propaganda is just relentless, and it's sad because I've got friends and family, and and some of them believe what they're being told, and it does take a fighting spirit to not buy into all this.
Yeah.
Think about all those people out there that'll believe anything they're told.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're dealing with. And they don't have any. They can't sit and critically think about things. They're trapped by their iPhones and their short-term memory, and this next generation, they can't even. A lot of them can't even speak in full sentences. They just throw a couple of words together, and then you've got the whole reparations thing and the revenge for slavery thing and that whole mentality. And where's that going to lead? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Just like Joe Biden. We need to go into the future here. We don't need to go back.
Yeah, no.
And backwards is for them is going to be hell on earth. Mao's China, Stalin's Russia, Hitler Germany. That's where they want to go. That's where they want to lead this country. That fought all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes no sense, man. And if they understood the reason why these monuments are up, none of us like what happened there, but they're a general reminder so we don't repeat that part of history. You know what I mean? And so them destroying, and they even destroyed the 54th Regiment, the all black battalion thing, and they don't think before they do things. And when you destroy history, it's like you don't learn from it. You know what I mean? So how is the next generation's going to learn what to do and not to do if there's no history there to, and plus we know the communists will rewrite everything, and it's sickening, it really is.
Well, one thing history does is it eventually ends up in its cycle. It goes through a renaissance, and that's where we need to be. We need to be heading towards the next renaissance. If you've got problems, if you've got an issue about how being black, like Michelle Obama, she's been talking about that black people, when they go out, they feel ignored. They feel ignored by white people.
Yeah.
What is she talking? She's sitting in an $11 million mansion that she and her husband were able to get simply because millions of white people didn't ignore you. We voted for him.
Yeah.
Twice. And if we ignored black people, you wouldn't have even gotten a vote.
Yeah, it's like contradicting when they do that. And there was a woman here, she said, she's like full of oppression. I'm like, you would have never been in your seat. She defeated this one incumbent, this white guy who was there for 20 years, a state rep. And she's crying oppression. I'm like, if you were under oppression, you would have never beat this white guy that that's been there for 20 years. The same thing with Michelle, Michael Obama.
Yeah, this guy who's qualified, knows the community a lot better. She's going to get in there, and it's going to be a complete mess.
Yep.
It's just like anything else. Politics is just like anything else. You've got to oversee your constituents, and there are things over time that you're going to learn about them. And it's just like any other job. Some guy's been working at the steel mill for 20 years, and then they replace him with some younger guy. He doesn't know how to do it as well as that guy did it. I mean, it's just the same thing. And I think the main thing that we need to call out the left on is their lack of looking into the future, their lack of being able to see the forward game. Take away the police, we're going to kick all your asses.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Exactly.
It's that simple. You don't take away the police and then all of a sudden you rule the United States.
Yeah.
No, you're going to end up. I mean, I don't want to make. I'm not making any threats. I'm just making predictions.
Yeah. They're gonna get what they asked for. You want evil, you got to get evil, and that's you got to come right down that pipe. And we've got about a minute left, John. And if you want to finish up and tell people how they can reach you.
Yeah, you can find me at dailynewscollective.com. That's my poor man's drudge report. You can find me on Twitter at newsbound. You can find me on YouTube at Jon Bowne Reports, and Jon Bowne Politics is the podcast I do each week, once a week. So you can find me at band.video also. It's the Bowne.
Awesome. And when you before I interrupt you, I'm sorry, but we were saying about that, man, me and you, okay, we've been in this battle, and of course politically and media wise, but we've been fighting for this country literally for decades. You know what I mean? So we've already seen this coming. We already, everything we all been saying, Infowars.com. All of us, you know what I mean, and for years, and it's all coming to tuition. Now people are waking up, and these people, if they want to keep pushing and shoving, they gotta, one thing, you don't put the American people's backs against the wall, because if they want to learn from 1776, 1812, and all the other rest of the wars, they're gonna lose and lose bad, because when the regular American people stand up and the gloves are off, you people are toast, plain and simple.
That's right. I want to say hello to everyone out there at the Muscle Bed Shoals Lighthouse.
Awesome. Hey, John, thank you so much, brother. God bless you. I love you, man.
All right, take care. Love you too, man.
You too, brother.
Take care. Thank
you. And that was Jon Bowne, dailynewscollective.com, and also Infowars.com. So, guys, we will see you soon. Thank you for joining me on the Dan Bidondi Show right here at 990WBOB.com. God bless, and you are the resistance. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. TruthRadioShow.com.